Hello everyone, Mark here with Mark's Max Muscle, and we have a bit of a different video today, to say the very least. We are going to discuss who, in my opinion, would be the Mount Rushmore of bodybuilding. What four bodybuilders would stick out in my mind that should be representing bodybuilding if they were to put these guys' face on a mountain, 60-foot tall faces. I mean, wow, who do you put? Who do you choose, guys? And this is probably my 1600th video, guys, that I've done for YouTube. And you know what? Every time I still get a little bit nervous. You know, it's like being a professional wrestler, no matter how many times you walk through those curtains. It's still an adrenaline rush, and these videos, to me, are, and I love doing them. And this is a very interesting topic. Now, who do you got? I mean, you got George Washington. He was the first, right? So, I assume you could do this two different ways. And here's one way. You could put Eugene Sandow. And this is just one way of looking at this, guys. I'm going to be looking at a different sort of way after this. But anyway, this is actually a very interesting way of looking at it. George Washington was the first. Now, who's the second guy? Does anybody know who this guy is? I'm a non-American. And I mean, I know Washington, obviously. And the third guy, that's Roosevelt. You can see with his glasses, that's Roosevelt for sure. And obviously Abe Lincoln. Who's the second guy? Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson. So, who's the second bodybuilder? Bobby Pandor? He might have been the first. But anyway, he was around way back when. Not too many people know of him, so I think he would make a perfect Thomas Jefferson. And then after that, there really was no bodybuilding or real famous bodybuilders for quite some time. I mean, there was Charles Atlas, things of that nature, but it wasn't until Steve Reeves hit the scene. And there was bodybuilders around at the same time that actually scored victories over Steve Reeves, but still, I think Reeves is, the most famous for his time, and he was basically the Arnold Schwarzenegger of his time. Now, who would be Abe Lincoln? Well, that's easy, guys. Joe Weider. If we're talking founding fathers and important figureheads in bodybuilding, then the bookends, I think, here are perfect, with Eugene Sandow being George Washington and Joe Weider being Abe Lincoln. Both presidents, very famous from a different time. And so are Eugene Sandow and Joe Weider. And they're the two most famous presidents, obviously. And you have Bobby Pandor and Steve Reeves in the center. And I think this is a pretty fitting comparison. And not only this, guys, but notice, every one of these gentlemen, except for Steve Reeves, has a mustache, a big old presidential mustache. Now take a look at the original. No mustaches except for where Reeves was. Isn't that funny? Anyway, Mark's Max Muscle thinks that type of stuff is just hilarious. Anyway, guys, that is obviously one way of looking at it, but that's not really how you guys expected me to look at this. We are going to look at bodybuilders, and really Steve Reeves, around his day and age, those were the first real sign of modern bodybuilders. But even that, guys, even Steve Reeves, we're going to begin after that, because we're going to have to choose between guys that have won the Sandow Trophy. So if you're going to be on Mount Rushmore, you had to have won at least one Mr. Olympia competition. So these are the guys we have to choose from. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with all the Olympia Champions, this will be an educational video as well. But I'm sure the most of you do know all of these guys. Larry Scott, first champion. I'm just going to run through these guys very quick. Sergio Oliva, second, of course. Arnold Schwarzenegger, followed by Franco Columbu, one of my favorite bodybuilders. Frank Zane was next, followed by Chris Dickerson. He was a one-time champion, followed by another one-time champion, Samir Banu. But the next guy, Lee Haney, was most certainly not a single-term president, I guess you could say. A little bit of a fitting comparison there. And then we go to the bottom, and you can see the evolution happen just overnight, pretty much, in bodybuilding. Dorian Yates, he hit the scene. Ronnie Coleman, there's two guys there that should be definitely taken seriously in this video. Jay Cutler. Now, Dexter Jackson, a one-time champion, but guys, he should be considered for sure. Phil Heath. Then you got Sean Roden, and these guys, the last three guys, one-time champions, one-termers, Sean Roden, Brandon Curry, and of course, our current champion, guys, Big Ramy. So, which four of these dudes deserve to be on Mount Rushmore? Well, I think first, and this might be an unpopular decision, but we are going to eliminate, boom, a bunch of them. They were all one-termers, guys. All the one-time champions. Chris Dickerson, Samir Banu. Then you got Dexter Jackson. And the final three guys, with all due respect to hey, Brandon Curry and Big Ramy, they might go on to win more titles. Who knows? Sean Roden, hey, he might win one more. But anyway, that's all the one-termers gone. And then you got the two-termers. We're going to start to narrow down on them guys. We have Larry Scott. With all due respect to Scott, hey, there was guys around in the mid-60s that I think were superior to him. Bill Pearl, Reg Park. And they might be more apt to be on the Mount Rushmore of bodybuilding than a Larry Scott. So, anyway, that's your two-time. And we got Franco Colombo, my favorite bodybuilder, one of my favorite bodybuilders. He's gone, as good as he is. And then I guess it's just a numbers game, guys. You have Sergio Oliva, who's so good. He won 3 titles. And he has another gentleman there, Frank Zane. Opposite physiques, but these guys are the only 3-time champions or 3-termers. So I guess we're going to X them out. So realistically, we are left with these 6 gentlemen, your final 6. And in my opinion, it has to be one of these 6 guys. It has to be. You're going to have to pick Arnold, right? He's Arnold Schwarzenegger. What a fantastic George Washington he would make. I'll get to the chopper. He would need a chopper to get up into the top of that mountain. And guys, he's very influential when it comes to bodybuilding for sure. And he won 7 titles. That's the second most. And speaking of most titles, you got Lee Haney. You have to pick him. He is, he's the best bodybuilder in the world, right? Him and another gentleman, Ronnie Coleman. You're going to have to pick both of those guys. So you got Arnold, Lee Haney, and Ronnie Coleman. That's a 7-time Olympia champion, 2 8-time Olympia champions. So you got 3 other gentlemen to choose from, and I can only pick one. And that is a pretty good decision. Pretty tough decision, actually. But when you consider the new era that Dorian Yates ushered in, 1993, he brought a package to the bodybuilding stage that nobody has ever seen. Anything close to that. Size, conditioning, combination. I mean, Jay Cutler's day, Phil Heath's day, they had already seen, Dorian Yates. They'd have seen Ronnie Coleman by then. So, it wasn't like they changed bodybuilding. So I think Dorian Yates is my final pick. Yes, he is my final pick for Mount Rushmore. So let's place these heads where they belong. And as we already seen, Arnold Schwarzenegger would make an excellent George Washington. They have the same type of haircut. Maybe not the same hair color. But anyway, Arnold is your first president on the Mount Rushmore. Your second is Lee Haney. Look at that, guys. Lee Haney is your Thomas Jefferson. Maybe the least known president on Mount Rushmore. Was to me, anyway, for a Canadian. I guess I said I was non-American. I am American. North American. But either way, guys, Canada. Village. And third is Dorian Yates. He is Theodore Roosevelt, or he replaces Teddy Roosevelt. Dorian Yates, he's from Yorkshire Putting, somewhere in the North River region in Britain. somewhere in London, England, I do believe. Anyway, we have an Austrian, American, and a Brit, a Yorkshire pudding Brit. So there's 3 different men, 3 different countries. That's pretty interesting. And who is our Abe Lincoln? As we already know, guys. And I saved him for the last because, Abe Lincoln, probably the best, maybe the most known president. And Ronnie Coleman, maybe the most known and renowned bodybuilder. Except for, of course, Arnold. And I guess you could say the same thing about Abe Lincoln and George Washington. So I think all 4 of these guys, very fitting. And I actually liked the very first replacements that I had, starring Eugene Sandow, finishing off with Joe Weider. But anyway, guys, this is your Mount Rushmore of bodybuilding. If I had to choose 4 greatest bodybuilders of all time, these are them. Anyway, hit thumbs up on the video. I'd like to hear your guys' top 4. Don't give me giving no 5 names, guys, in the comment section below. Let's have 4 names. We'll play a little game. If I see a really good one, I'll pin it. I'm sure one will get the most thumbs up anyway. Maybe I'll pin that one. Anyway, hit thumbs up on this video if you did enjoy it, and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Follow me on Instagram as well if you would like. Have a great day.